Regulators with flame arresters should be used for both oxygen and acetylene tanks. The green hose is identified as the oxygen hose with standard right-hand thread. The red hose is identified as the fuel or acetylene hose with left-hand threads. Air filter separator is typically set at 85 psi. Refer to manual for recommended parameters. Oxygen and fuel flows are shown for bond-right application. Again, refer to manual for recommended parameters. Take note that precise readings are recorded at the bottom of the float. Shown here at 43 oxygen and 39 fuel SCFH. Connection of compressed air hose is opposite valve handle on the larger connection. The center connection is for the oxygen hose with the right-hand thread. The remaining outside connection is for fuel gas or red hose with left-hand thread. Here you see the air, oxygen and fuel lines with their proper connection. Masking and grit blasting is an important part of surface preparation. All hand contact should be avoided after piece is properly grit blasted. Lighting the gun. Open and lock the snubber assembly. Insert the wire into the gun through the snubber assembly, assuring that 1 inch of the wire is visible outside of the air cap. Lock the assembly, assuring that the wire is properly locked inside the snubber assembly. Rotate valve handle to 45 degrees or lighting position. Note the lighting flows of oxygen and acetylene in the flow meters. Rotate the handle to full open position and note flows also. Turn handle back to 45-degree position for lighting and light with a striker. Immediately after lighting, rotate handle to full vertical position. Once the gun is lit, engage the wire feed mechanism and the wire will start to feed. For demonstration purposes, here we show an excessive wire feed rate. To adjust the proper feed rate, turn the control feed ring accordingly. Typically, the wire should burn 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch outside of the air cap. When the spray application has been completed, pull the wire feed handle up, stopping the wire feed, and rotate the valve handle to the full forward position. This will shut off all gases and compressed air. To properly remove the wire from the gun, clip the melted materials from the front of the gun. Place the snubber assembly in the open position, then remove the wire from the gun. Nozzle extensions are available in a variety of lengths for specific applications from 6 to 36 inches. Fan spray air caps are available for low melting point materials. First shown is spray with the standard air cap. Then shown is the fan spray cap. Notice the difference in spray coverage. Remove rear snubber assembly using 2mm Allen wrench. This allows access to the turbine cover screw. With slotted screwdriver, remove 3 turbine cover screws. Remove turbine cover, exposing turbine cover assembly. Remove screws holding bearing cover. Remove bearing follower and bearing cover gasket, taking care not to damage gasket. Firmly hold turbine assembly as shown and remove turbine shaft nut. Remove the counter shaft assembly, then remove the turbine shaft assembly. Remove the bearing retainer plug from the bearing retainer as shown. Firmly hold gear assembly and remove the bearing nut. Remove the bearing retainer and bearing with 2mm Allen wrench and remove the counter shaft gear, either standard or high speed. Install new counter shaft gear onto the shaft and tighten with 2mm Allen wrench. Reinstall bearing retainer and bearing, followed by the bearing nut. Reinstall the bearing retainer plug, thus completing the assembly of the countershaft gear for the change for standard or high-speed application. Holding turbine shaft, loosen turbine shaft nut and remove. Remove finger spring, bearing, spring washer, spring and brake disc. Loosen turbine rotor set screw with 2mm Allen wrench. Remove turbine from turbine shaft. Remove oil seal assembly by removing washer, bobbin, bobbin spring sleeve, bobbin and washer. With new turbine shaft in hand, reinstall oil seal assembly in reverse order. Place turbine shaft into turbine, aligning set screw with turbine shaft. Tighten with 2mm Allen wrench. Reinstall brake disc, aligning ears with pins on turbine rotor. Reinstall spring, spring washer, bearing finger spring, then nut, in that order. Firmly hold turbine and tighten nut. Reinstall turbine shaft assembly into central housing. Reinstall countershaft assembly and tighten with slotted screwdriver. Reinstall turbine nut and replace bearing cover gasket. Install bearing follower and bearing cover, then tighten slotted screws. Reinstall turbine cover housing and attach with 3 slotted screws. Install snubber assembly and tighten with 2mm Allen wrench. Place upper drive roll carrier and install pivot pin. Remove air cap and air cap body. With screwdriver, carefully remove siphon plug assembly. Take note of carbon buildup on siphon plug. Remove nozzle nut and nozzle. Then remove O-rings from the nozzle. Lightly clean the carbon from the nozzle with Scotch-Brite pad. With supplied tip cleaners, clean the flame holes with the appropriate size wire cleaner as shown. Also clean the face of the nozzle with Scotch-Brite. Install new O-rings onto the nozzle and lubricate O-rings with a small amount of valve lube. Never use old O-rings. Remove and discard O-rings from the siphon plug. Clean siphon plug with Scotch-Brite pad, assuring all carbon buildup is removed. Reinstall nozzle and nozzle nut. Place new O-rings